going, everybody? Today I'm going to be going over the potential, I guess, upside of Doge, funnily enough. And this is particularly, I guess, important right now because of the structure I feel that is being presented to us by the Doge BTC pair and the timings of which it sits in the rotations from Bitcoin to Ethereum and then larger caps within the market. As you can see here, I've plotted out particular sections of this structure previously in the 2020 cycle, where there is a push up, a grab of liquidity or liquidity grab below these lows, and then a structure forming on the green box here that gives us an extension to the upside near the 4236 area. And to measure this out for this cycle, it would be around here, just above the all-time high, or maybe at the all-time high. As you see, this went a bit shy of the all-time high previously, and perhaps that's our main target for Doge when it comes to a target all-time high. So just this high here. I would just be conservative and not aim for the 4236 exactly, but maybe even the 3618. Perhaps it does go above that area, but we're in a really good zone to be longing this asset, in my opinion. And I've already taken a position earlier before the rally started because I saw the structure showing, and I've been away from making videos at the moment because there hasn't been anything in particular that I can really give value on other than this, in my opinion, that has, some sort of structure behind it that can be traded and I guess taken a position in. So let's break this down. Perhaps I'll take the Ethereum chart and provide some context from the previous cycle. Let's get the previous cycle here and mark out the top of the cycle. Yep, that's approximately the top. Cool. And we see Ethereum's approach to the purple line or the pink line. And we get this cycle, Ethereum. And we have a pink line here as well. And I'll remove this for the time being. I don't believe, that's still very possible, but for the time being, I'm looking closely at where Ethereum has approached the all-time high. And with this, I'll do this. Just so we can start to see where Doge started to run relative to Ethereum's approach to the all-time high. And we saw previously on the BTC pair, it does have some similarities before its alt rally previous cycle. So we're looking at some alignments here of timing, where is there potential for the rise of this asset. And with the Doge coins and like the XRPs, etc., they usually do a massive run out of nowhere, supposedly. But the timings of like getting into these assets, I guess you want to get in right before it starts to rally or accumulate along the bottoms. But opportunity cost of not being in Bitcoin and Ethereum and whatnot by doing that. So you want to be in before the initial move. So now that we see this, let's see the Doge charts as well. I've moved that chart down to here. Now let's see the Doge chart. I'll put the previous cycle's rally to the all-time highs on the top, so it aligns with the top chart. Hopefully everybody is smart enough to follow along. I'm going to mark that as the 28th of June. 28th of Jan. See that? it did not break the all-time high just yet. And what do we have right now? Remember the similar structure we had before. Ignore these lines, not important. What do we have here? So we have approximately 25 days from my last measure from here to when this pump is initiated. 26 days. Funnily enough, we're approximately around that time as well, currently, right? So, I mean, the structure here is still very, I guess, wishy-washy. It could actually go down more and and do something like that before going up. And the moves here of magnitude are quite large in terms of how volatile Ethereum was before breaking the all-time high, right? And we've only moved like less than 10% to the downside. So there could be a bit more movement and rotation. However, it's not strictly going to do the same thing that it did here, right? So we're looking for the best opportunity in terms of our positioning. I happen to get into Doge at this level. I'll mark it here. And the reason being is, and I'll put it as green, it was the golden pocket of the move like this. Retest, and now it is looking like there could be a lift off, and worth mentioning this to everybody just so they're aware. Actually, you guys saw me open the position in my previous video. Apologies. I actually doubled down on the position when I closed, when I stopped recording the video. So it's a 100K position from this green line here, and it's starting to align up. And I'm just trying to find ways to make sense of what's currently occurring in the market because, and like I said before, the market's a hard read, and there is potential heaps of volatility up ahead that is sort of unpredictable. But this is looking more predictable than a lot of things at the moment. But I'm just showcasing these things to illustrate that the time for Doge could potentially be near. I could be wrong, but that's the bet that I'm taking with limited downside. Let's open the Doge BTC pair on the side here, just so we can be aligned on these structures. What you're seeing in this here is the green box that I drew before, 25%, 25-day move, and Doge BTC on the left side in its current state, right? The green box on the right side. And I'll turn the 2-day on just so you can see. Similar structure. Boxy box here. And the big wide box at the bottom, right? Why is it not? Oh yeah, there you go. Like that, right? And this is also around that 25-ish day mark here. We're around the time where, if it were to mirror the previous bull market's lift off for Doge. So another important chart here, if we're understanding the fact that Ethereum is going to initiate rallies within altcoins due to capital rotation, it's worth noting and worth observing the Ethereum pair against that particular coin. And let's have a look at Dogecoin at the moment and potentially mark out the projected targets. So I'll go through my thought process when marking charts with fibs. So I'll find the high and I'll look at the previous cycle's liftoff. This is the same area that I was measuring or looking at before for the initial move into the Doge season, so to speak. And this one had a lot more noise when it came to the golden pocket. Golden pocket being this 0618 to 065. It did extend further down to 0786, so there potentially is some more volatility up ahead. However, I do think it might be limited due to timing if we were to mirror the timing as seen from our analysis before. Apologies, I was just having a think because we're going to look at Bitcoin dominance as well in comparison to what was occurring at that point in time. And as you can see here, from the bottom to the high, we have a exact bounce off the golden pocket. All right, so there is support here on the Doge Ethereum pair, similar to the previous cycle. So now would be like a decent time, in my opinion, to take some bets on Doge. And obviously there's that limited downside and invalidation that you can see there, probably below the 0786 level, should it continue to go down. But that should illustrate to you where we might be. Now, let's go to where we are on the Bitcoin dominance and where Doge started to lift off in comparison to Ethereum in previous cycle, and I'll use boxes as well. So in here, I'll use a green box or a teal box. The initial move to here was all made at the initial drop of the Bitcoin dominance. So now what do we have here? We already have Bitcoin dominance dropping, but Doge dropping as well. So we have the initial sort of makings for potential capital rotation into Doge, but it just hasn't happened at the same timing here. But in terms of the actual timing of whether or not it should happen, it would be sooner rather than later from what I'm observing at the moment. So maybe some movement within this region or even lower will result in the push up in the Doge Ethereum pair. And where is the potential high going to be? I'm going to use the same method of measuring previously, and we'll backtest it on the left side here, and I'll show it on the Bitcoin Doge pair as well. And what it simply is, I think it's the higher one here. Wait, let me check this. So what you do is you get the low to the higher point, and then the downside low here. I'm circling with my little cursor, and it gives us a 2618 level, a 1618 level, which is rejected at first, and then a 2618 level, which is rejected from in the second drive. Now, what do we have in the current cycle? You find the low of the move, which is here, the high of the move, same principle. And what do we have? So what we've done is we've reached the 1618 area, similar to how we've done here. The difference is that we've retraced beyond this 3-line box, right? Back down to the golden pocket as measured before. But should we go upwards, we should go to around this level, 400-ish% against the Ethereum pair, 400%. Very interesting. And let's go back to the Doge BTC pair. How much would this be in appreciation with BTC? around 400-ish to 500-ish if it were to reach the all-time high of the BTC pair. So roughly around the same amount, right? 400% here and 500% here. And assuming Ethereum moves a little bit more than BTC over the next, few months as we head into the last phases of the cycle. So that is a cross analysis across, multiple assets against Doge, Bitcoin dominance. And as far as the Tether dominance at the moment, it's a little bit confusing, huh? Because what we've done here is we've done that drive that I was speaking about to this is like a third drive, right? This is 1, 2, and the third drive, which I rated at a 12.5% probability of occurring, and it's occurred. However, we've rejected from that level. So I'm assuming here is that if we don't see another large push into this level before the FOMC next month, mid-September, traditionally what we see within September, either at the start or mid-September, is a correction for 2 weeks. And that 2-week correction could bring the Tether dominance down up quite a bit, because when Bitcoin goes down, I assume that they'll like the push on altcoins now, maybe within this level as we range on Bitcoin, could result in some decent altcoin appreciations before a large drive down, and then the final phase of the cycle, in October onwards to the end of the year, to close off the cycle, if it were to end in November, December. But yeah, if you see the prices appreciate now till, the early September period, I personally will be taking a lot off the table, because that is a high risk, it's a high risk event. And from what history says, let's illustrate this not with words, but with a chart. I'll mark every September, just so we're clear and on the same page. So I've got every single cycle in front of us. I'll mark August, which is where we're at. August in white. August in white. August in white. Obviously we're in August right now. And then I'll mark September as red. This happened at the end of September. There's a large drive down. This one happened at the 1st of September, large drive down. This happened at the 4th of September, a large drive down. So we're going to be moving into the September period. Maybe we retest that 1618 on the Tether dominance, and there is a push down on the price, as per my previous videos, of a potential correction coming up ahead. But yeah, something to look out for when we go into the next month. But beyond that point, it could be, significant upside for altcoins once Ethereum breaches all-time highs, and that's when we see some serious appreciation in. Let me show the example quickly before I end the video. So I have it here. Okay, and we've got Solana. Where is Solana? Get the Sol chart here. I'll draw some boxes for everybody to see. Yellow. Yellow. All-time high break. All-time high break. And it actually goes beyond that when Solana falls and topples over actually. So around here. And when Solana falls, Sol kept on going up. And I'll mark out some magnitudes of movements here, just so you can see what that Sol breakout looks relative to Ethereum when it breaks its all-time high, and the range here, and the range here, approximately. Similar range of compression, extreme expansion when it comes to Ethereum's all-time high break when risk starts to come on again. So hopefully that's been helpful and insightful as we approach the last phase of the cycle. Thanks guys.